Alright, so today we're going to do an example of how to use the grid to make a grid drawing. Basically, we use grids to make things look super duper proportionate and accurate. It helps you really look at different pieces of the picture, one piece at a time, so that you can just look at the lines instead of looking at it as one whole picture and having that being a very daunting kind of thing. So it kind of just breaks it up for you, makes it a little bit simpler, but it takes a little bit of time to understand how to use the grid. So the grid is basically just squares that go over a picture. So right now we're going to do this watermelon slice. So what you want to do is really look at one square at a time. So the letters that go across and the numbers that go down are going to identify each box. So basically, we're going to start with A1. And I'm going to take these blue pieces of paper and put them over the other boxes, or at least some of the boxes, so that I can just really look at what lines are in A1. So I know that there's a straight line that goes across. It doesn't start at the edge of the box, it starts a little bit further away, and then it goes all the way to the edge of the next line. And then we have two lines that come down, and it looks like this one is a little bit bolder, so it looks like this one splits. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and draw these exact lines in my box over here that is A1, okay? So I'm gonna start out, and I'm gonna say it starts around this little dot right here, okay? So I'm gonna start making a line that kind of starts to curve in a little bit, and then another line that starts to curve in next to it. So now it kind of looks like this one's a little bit thicker. Then I'm gonna start my line that goes straight across. Now if you wanna use a ruler, be my guest, use a ruler. I'm gonna just eyeball it. So now I've done my line that goes across. And then I need that third line that comes in a little bit further away from our first line that goes down, and that one curves just the same amount as the other two. Now, I haven't done this as, it's not super accurate because my pencil is a little bit thinner than these lines. That's okay. The picture's still gonna look pretty accurate, okay? So now I'm gonna move over and I'm gonna do B1. Okay, so let's look just at B1. So this line continues over. So I'm going to just continue it over all the way across the square. Then now we start to see some seeds. Now I didn't notice this little line in A1, so I'm going to start doing it. It comes right in the corner of it, kind of curves up, and then it goes into B1. And then that's the tip of the seed, and then it points down, okay? Then we have another seed in B that is basically in the center of the box. So I'm going to go to the center of the box and make that top part of the seed. We see more of that seed than the first seed, so that's going to be a little bit thicker or a little higher of a line. So we've got B1 down now. So now I'm going to switch over my box so that I can see the rest of the first row and still be able to draw my picture. So C is super easy. C1 is just a line that goes straight across. So I'm going to continue my line, and you'll notice that my lines are connecting. You want your lines to connect wherever they actually do connect in this picture, because otherwise it's going to look disjointed and it won't look like a watermelon slice. So then I'm just going to continue this line all the way across D, and in D there's also another seed. So that looks like it's a little bit to the side of the halfway mark on the left. So I'm just going to start making that little line that curves up and it goes over, and then it points down, okay? Then your top of the watermelon goes into E1, and it stops a little bit past halfway. So now I'm stopping. I'm going to start making my curve lines for the edge of the watermelon slice. I've got one, I've got two really close, and then I've got the third one a little bit further away. So now I've got my first row done, okay? So after you do that row, you should look at it, make sure that everything looks where it's supposed to look. It looks pretty similar, I think. So now I'm gonna go into the second row, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna start connecting the lines that I've already made into the second box. So in A2, this curved line curves all the way down to about, I'm gonna say 3/4 of that box. So I'm gonna make it curve down. It's gonna go to about here. All right, the other one curves with it, just a little bit further away. And that goes all the way to the corner of the box. See, it's right in that corner. And then this third line gives away from that second line and comes to about here. So now we've got that box done. So now I'm gonna move over to B2. Now B2 has a lot more in it. And I also forgot the rest of this seed. So I'm gonna go back into A1, finish it up, connect that seed. So now that seed's done. I'm gonna connect the other seed as well. This one's a little bit smaller. So we're just making that curved line. Now we have 3 extra seeds. So there's one that looks like it's pointing to the corner. So I'm gonna make that seed. And then we've got 2 bigger ones that come down. So I'm gonna have one right in this corner right here. And then another one about here. All right, and then I'm gonna continue this line against that corner, okay? I'm gonna move my squares and I'm gonna look at C1, D1, and E1. So now I've got 2 more seeds. One about here, one about there. They're both pointing upwards, okay? You'll notice that I'm drawing pretty lightly so that if I make a mistake, I can easily erase it and fix it. And then the second one, I'm sorry, the next seed starts in C and it goes into D. So I'm gonna make that seed. I'm gonna finish off the seed that I started up here. And now I've got 3 more that I've gotta do. I've gotta do one in the corner here. And that literally hits 2 of the lines. And then I've gotta do another one in the middle and further down from the top 2. And then I've got one that's really tight in the corner up here. All right, now I'm gonna look at the slice lines, okay? So the outside of the watermelon. I'm gonna curve it down to about, so let's see, it goes about here. So I'm gonna curve it down to about there, and then it's gonna curve in and start going over that corner, okay? So now this line is gonna go a little bit below that, into the corner, and then this line's gonna come out a little bit more and come to about there-ish, okay? Now, I don't really like this curve that much, so I think I'm going to fix it a little bit. Again, that's why we're using a light touch to our pencil so that we can fix some of these mistakes. All right, so I think that has a little bit better of a curve now. All right, let's go to the third row. So A3 looks super simple. Just gonna continue these 2 lines that curve in the corner. Now let's go to B2. I don't even need this one in here. I'll put it back on the top, I guess. So I'm only looking, actually, you know what? We wanna look at our other lines so that we can connect them. So now this one comes around to the corner, okay? This one follows that line. And now all 3 look like they're pretty equally spaced apart. So we're just gonna continue that. Going to make this look more like a smile line because it's gonna start curving up. We'll curve this one up and this one up. And now we just gotta connect. So I'm gonna connect this to that line, this to that line, and this to that line. And then we've got 2 very similar, oops, almost forgot this last seed. There we go. Now we've got 2 very similar watermelon slices. That's what we're doing with grids. We're trying to make things look exactly the same, based on a picture that you're observing to draw. So in LSA art, we do grid drawings with 4th grade flowers, the Georgia O'Keeffe flowers, and we do grid drawings in 8th grade with our drawing with words. So it'll get a little bit harder when you move from a flower to a person, but it's really nice to start out trying to figure out how to use a grid with really simple objects like a watermelon slice or maybe an apple or something. Try it out simple, get used to the grid method, and then move on to something harder. All right, hopefully this is helpful, and let's see how your pictures turn out. I'm really excited.